Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. It's late and I'm trying to speak directly into the microphone. So, what am I doing? Remember the water tower. We're working on a water tower again. Excuse me. Here's a water tower. This water tower here didn't come with a base. Looking at photographs on internet, generally have a base. No base for this one, which on one side is good because it can fit onto a layout better, but in the case of my layout, where nothing is permanent, the risk of this being knocked over as it is, even if it's very stable, you can see it's very stable, there is a discrete risk of things being knocked over and landing on the floor, and I don't want that. Plus, not having a base becomes very difficult to fit the ladders, because in fact I got this model here minus the ladders. They didn't have the ladders, but luckily I have got two ladders, which are, by looking at photographs on internet, the very ladders for this model, in a bag of assorted figurines, signposts, telegraph poles, etc, etc. So probably maybe these are the ladders that were never fitted to this here. I can't remember if I bought them off the same seller. I do not know. I can't remember. I would have to trace back my Vinted purchases. That might be feasible, perhaps, but I think it's just pure chance that I got two ladders of the right length. But for the moment, we don't need them. We'll put them away. I like to keep these blister packs and things because they're very useful for keeping temporary storage of things you don't want to lose. Okay, so what do I have to do now? This will be very simple. This is a piece of kind of foam. This comes from a kind of plastic kind of cube that you can stack one on top of another to raise the height of furniture, which I have done on my bed, etc., on the armchair. And of course, each plastic cube has one of these non-slip kind of foam. But of course, you only need it on top, so I have several of these extra. And my idea is to simply glue the water tower on here with some glue and glaze, of course, because that's the best kind of glue, but definitely it's no use black. So this is going to be painted concrete, like a concrete base. We'll also weather it a bit once it's fitted. This is a nice, and it's also non-slip, so it's a good thing to have on, because this will be fitted on a corner of the layout near the station, and there's less risk of it falling over, being tipped over. Plus, I'll probably even make like a wee safety device or a wee hole or a wee something to clip it in position when it's there. But I think that once it's glued on here, we can fit some railings around it, or we can fit some railings around that area. But the important thing is to have this on a base. So we don't need the water tower now. We'll pop it over here out the road beside the camera. Or no, that's asking for it to be knocked over. We'll just pop it over here. It doesn't come to any... where do we put it? On the other table. Okay. So, having got rid of that, we're going to paint this. To paint this base, I'm not using Vallejo paint this time here, because this is really a relatively cheap thing. I don't want to, I'm turning this up a bit, okay, let's see if it's better, right. I'm not using Vallejo paints that are more for modelling. If this were a piece of balsa, I would use Vallejo, but there's no point in wasting more expensive material for such a simple thing. I'm going to use some acrylic paint, very simple, which I bought at Pepco. Pepco is a shop that sells all sorts of clothes, household items, toys, etc. And I bought this set of acrylic paints. You can see here, complete with four brushes and a colour palette as well. So it's a whole set. So I can have a separate colour palette for the acrylic paints at Pepco, and I paid it. Let's see the price. Euros 5. I paid it €5. So very cheap, really very convenient. In the UK it would be £4, and here there are various other Romanian lei, 21 lei. This, it looks like, what's this? Hungarian forint, Czech crowns. This must be leva, Bulgaria. I don't know what this is. Anyway, what we're interested in is it's €5, 21 RON, meaning new lei of Romania, and £4. So we're there. Very convenient, really very convenient. Right, so Pepco Artist. So since we're using Pepco Artist, we're just going to use one of their brushes as well, because we don't need to complicate. These are synthetic brushes. Looks okay, definitely good for doing this job. Let's see how the brushes are as well. And I've got grey, there's already grey, but of course I'll add a touch of black to it probably. But let's have a look at this paint. And let's see if this camera is still working. Yes, let's get a piece of scrap paper to put under here. Okay, I'm setting up the shop. Right, so grey. I think I'm going to hurry up because I've got an annoying sciatic nerve and I'm not feeling great. Okay, so aluminium tube, sealed. I have to punch a hole through it. This is something I've always liked doing since I was a kid, punching the hole in the aluminium tube. Whether it was, I remember the time even toothpaste had this system, but generally nowadays it's shoe polish and things like this, but I really like doing it. I don't know why. Don't ask me why I have this pleasure in punching the hole through the aluminium tube. There we go. Pretty light grey. And then you get the nice grey or brown or shoe polish colour on here. Strange things that go on in the brain. Okay. Right, we're going to put it here. Now, I would say that is a bit too light for cement. It's a really very clean base, so I think we're going to make a spot of grey, and we'll add a little bit of black. Here's some black. It's called lamp black. Okay, definitely black. So we'll add a spot of black to this. We want to make it get too dark. Okay. I'll put the lid back on the black, the cap. Of course I got it on my fingers, I had to. Would have been possible otherwise. Okay, so now we'll mix it, just using the big brush. Pot of water as well, doesn't come to any harm. The brush is not quality like what brushes do I have? EK? Can't remember. Ammo. My brushes are ammo, usually. That's a better grey. That's more like a concrete grey. You see, I've toned down the lightness with a bit of black. Quite a stiff brush, but that'll do. So for these kind of jobs here, we can definitely use cheap material. I mean, it's like the poster paint I use for other things. So this is nice and clean. Let's see how it comes. We'll probably want more than one coat. And it doesn't really need to be perfect, because in the end this is a concrete base and it'll be weathered a bit. But probably this is going to absorb. I don't even know how this sort of foam base reacts to painting. So it'll probably want more than one coat of paint. Not very impressed by the performance of this brush. I'm going to use a toothpick to hold this in place. Of course, I don't even have any primer for this, so it's obviously going to be it'll want a second coat, absolutely. Let's just paint around the sides. Trying to make nice long clean strokes now. It doesn't really matter, because we'll be giving it a second coat. Okay, we've painted around the sides. Another wee bit here. Okay, definitely it needs a second coat. Okay, it needs a second coat, and probably I won't be mixing the second coat on this palette here, which has got the sort of small, it's not smooth. I think I'll mix the second coat on the other palette. That way I can do the finish with a roller sponge, because I think that would be much better than this. This is okay as a sort of an undercoat now. So we know that it's okay, but we'll definitely use another method for the second coat. Second coat, which might be the definitive coat. Okay, very well. So that's that for the moment. Not a very special video, nothing particular, but it's good an occasion to try out these acrylic paints, these cheap acrylic paints. In the next video, we'll test the acrylic paints using one of these. I just couldn't remember. These, probably the small one will do the job. Just go in, and that way we get a nice finish like with the roads. So we'll definitely be using these, and we'll see how these roller. Wait a minute, Ian had told me roller 75 what the name of these things are. There's a particular name, but oops, I can't remember right now. I just call it a roller, or a paint roller. An end is a paint roller or a roller brush. There is another name, but I just can't remember. I'll have to go and look, and in a previous video, or Ian Bugler 75, just remind me what these are called, because I can't remember right now. But second video, the following video, we'll be using these to get the final finish. Anyway, we'll see how this thing here dries. I couldn't remember what drawer these were in. Okay, now I know. Down here. Very good. Oops. So that's that for the moment. Of course, if you enjoy the videos, speaking in general, you can, if you enjoy the videos, give them a like, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and what the other thing is, I always say, and share the videos, and comment. Yes, that's an important thing. Comment. I always like reading your comments. I like to answer your comments. I think comments are the best part of seeing the feedback from the video. So I always enjoy, and excuse me if I'm not speaking very loudly now. I'm not shouting. The telephone is over there. I've tried to speak directly into the microphone. I don't have an external microphone, and it's 5 to 1 in the morning, and I would like not to wake everybody up by speaking in a loud voice. So that's that for the moment. Cheerio, and see you next time.